Good morning, everybody. I'm presenting my thesis, which is CAD, which is Context Awareness for Distraction-Free Driving. So this essentially is a system design and implementation of system which will mitigate in-vehicle distractions caused due to phones. So in this work I'll present the system design and implementation. So the motivation for this project is derived from two important things. One is alarming statistics, which is as per the annual attributable risk estimate, which was released by National Safety Council, there are like 1.3 million crashes every year which involve cell phone usage. And cell phone usage is not limited to just texting, so the distraction is not just by texting, it's also due to conversations. So in fact, the conversations were more involved, so 12 times more involved than texting in crashes. So due to these statistics, there has been an active participation or active initiation by US government and also service providers like AT&T. I don't know what happened.
Yes, refresh.
So service providers such as AT&T, which have taken initiative to fight distracted driving and to give solutions for this problem. And also, second thing that we observe is the emerging trends, that is, which covers the ubiquity of smartphones. Now, the smartphones, as per Strategy Analytics, so that's a firm which has studied the number of cell phones which are smartphones. So it has touched 1 billion as per last year, last year July. So this definitely shows the ubiquity of smartphones. And smartphones come with a capability beyond texting and calling, which we want to utilize in our solution. So essentially, we'll be using some sensor capabilities of smartphones in providing a solution for distraction mitigation. So this is, and another thing is because of the sensors which are embedded on smartphones, there are this context-aware research solutions which are coming up, which essentially work on context detection. So which is they provide us with the user's context. I don't know what's happening.
Well, it's okay. Just continue.
So, which provide us with context information of the user as to if the user is driving and what are his surroundings, what is he currently doing. So these kind of information, we can retrieve that and utilize it in our system to provide some services around that. So we are building user-centric services from the context information. So now the related work. So essentially, distraction due to phones or distraction in general can be either of the three things. One is it can be a visual distraction wherein you take the sight off road because you're texting or you're calling. And another is manual distraction because you're using your phones to text, you're taking your hands off the steering. And the other one is cognitive distraction, which is basically your mind is not concentrating on the task that you're doing. So essentially, in relation to these three kinds of distraction, there are different solutions which are provided in literature. So first being the hands-free devices. So most of us think that using hands-free devices would not distract us while driving, but that is actually, and there are also laws which have been passed to support this hands-free devices while driving. But the thing is, although hands-free devices help with visual and manual distractions, they don't really help with cognitive distraction, so which is your mind. So the distraction is related to the act of talking, not how it is achieved. Because you're talking, you're splitting your attention between your talking and driving. So that will lead to crashes again. So that is one thing about hands-free devices. So we believe that hands-free device is not an ultimate solution for distracted driving. And the second thing is binary scheme, which is these utilize the context of the user, but they don't provide any services for the user. Only thing they do is they disable all your cell phone services. So it's like a binary scheme. You either have the services or you don't have the services. So it's completely not flexible for an user. So we believe that it won't receive any user acceptance as a solution. And there are other context-aware solutions like our system, but these provide so these again provide services which are triggered by user's context. So if the user is driving, they initiate certain services, but they have different design perspectives. So there is an application from AT&T which was designed for teenage drivers. So in that case, the parents of these teenage drivers can monitor phone usage of teenage drivers and also override the settings on their phones. So we believe that that's an intrusion to their privacy, to the teenage driver's privacy, and that would reduce the acceptance probability of the solution. I just started.
That's okay.
Yeah. So our solution falls into category 3, but we have varied design goals, which I'll be covering through my talk. So the key ideas behind this project, there are four important ideas behind the design of this project. So the first thing is, as I mentioned earlier, so there are this hands-free aid which comes into one end of the spectrum. So these kind of solutions require user discretion. So user needs to know that he can actually manage talking while driving. So those kind of things are needed by hands-free aid. And binary solution is too less, it offers too less flexibility. So we want to design something in between, so we want to attain a middle ground in the design. And for this we have designed context-aware services. So that will fall into the mid of the spectrum. So first is context-aware services. So as I mentioned, it will help us attain the middle ground. Then we have automated services. So this is essentially related to the cognitive distraction. So here we don't require the user to give any inputs while he is driving. Everything is done prior to driving, and while he is driving, it's all automated. So this will help us fight cognitive distraction. And the third thing is we want to address the passive entities. So most of the solutions revolve around a driver who is revolve around a user who is driving. But our solution will also address people who are not driving currently, because we believe that passive entities who are the people who are not driving, but they don't know that you are driving, and they cause distraction while you're driving. So we want to design a system which will also provide some services for passive users. And we want to improve the user acceptance. As I mentioned earlier about the AT&T application, we feel that it includes privacy. So, and in our solution also we are utilizing location data, so we want to ensure privacy in that case. And also we want to improve the performance of the system, overall improving the user acceptance probability of this. So these are the four main design goals that we had on mind when we did this. So just the goals for our system implementation. So the goals are context-aware user-centric services. So here, these are the services which we'll be providing based on the context. So we have two classes of users, which I'll cover later. So for them, we are providing some services. And along with this, as an optimization, we have improved the reliability of this solution as well as the performance of this solution, which I'll be covering later. And there are some auto-functional capabilities. So this is, as I mentioned, it is to address the cognitive distraction. So it will all be automated. All the functions that we are offering, all the services that we are offering don't require any user inputs while he's driving. So they and then we have the privacy and end-to-end communication scheme that we need for the entities involved in this. So overall, all these four things are the design goals, and this will ultimately help us in attaining a middle ground in giving a solution for distracted driving. So the design part of it. So there are user-centric services. So as I mentioned, this system is not designed only for a user who is driving. So we have two classes of users. So one, the person who is driving, and he's called an active user of this system, and there's a passive user who is currently not driving but still requires some services so that he does not cause distraction. So the services are grouped into these two categories. So based on your context, we categorize you into active and passive users, and we have different services that are provided. So that is an idea outline. So the middle box there actually represents the services that we are providing. And so the passive user is the one who can see the information about you, but he's not driving. And you're the person who is driving, who is an active user. So for an active user, the services that we provide are automatic context sharing. So once we detect your context, so if you're driving, we initiate a sharing process, which will broadcast your context to all the users on your contact list. And there is automated event-driven share, which is we share your location information in terms of proximity metrics, which is not like exposing your geolocation, but a different method of sharing your location. For that, we automatically start the event based on previously scheduled events. So the duration and everything is set prior to your driving. And then we also, this is an important thing, we perform mode switching. Mode switching refers to changing your phone state to silent or silent so that it doesn't disturb you while you're driving, and reverting it back to what it was once you've completed driving automatically. So it does not require user interference for it. And here we can also, if it is combined with some service provider solutions, then we can provide a callback tune based on the context. So if the user is driving, we could provide a callback say about his context information. So that would be performed in the mode switching state. And for the passive user services, we have context updates, which is when a person is driving, this user automatically can see that this person is driving, and the information is provided to him, and they can also perform event scheduling, so which means to say they're not currently driving and they can set up an event which will decide the duration of data share between them. So if I want to share my location data with someone, I can set up an event if I'm a passive user. So that service is provided to them, and there are alerts and notifications. These two are important in the sense that when the context of the user is driving, if this person tries to initiate a call to a person who's driving, then we would provide an alert or a notification as to their context is driving. So in this, we are reducing the probability that this person might actually cause a distraction by providing these services. So the important thing about in our system is automation. So here, so there are various. So this particular stage was designed using user test and feedback. So we designed a version 1 of this system which had some of the manual options, and then later, based on the user usage, we slowly turned it into automated services. So initially, so context information. So the initial design actually had an override option wherein you could decide on whom you want to share the context with and whom you don't want to share the context with. But because the context information is the most crucial information to our system, we decided that we don't need an override option for that, and we have made it automatic updates. So you don't need to set to whom it is to be shared with. It is shared with everybody at all times. So it is an important information, crucial to our system. And we have activity-based data sharing. So this is essentially, this will essentially dictate the data share that is happening in the system. So in this particular use case, we'll be scheduling events, and this event schedule will allow us to pick duration for location information sharing. So this you're doing while you're not driving. So it is previously determined, and you're doing it. And the system will automatically do it once your context is detected to be driving. And so here you don't need to take care of user permissions, in the sense that you don't have to know whom you are sharing the data with, because you've already scheduled an event. So only when the event is scheduled with a particular person, you already provided permissions. So you don't need to go back and monitor if this is enabled, if the location share is enabled with a certain user or it is not enabled. So the system takes care of it by itself. And then there are some services like auto reprise and auto refresh. This is essentially, these are, so our system is built on active data connectivity. It assumes that you have active data connectivity. So because it's a mobile client, there might be fluctuations in your connectivity, and your context updates might fail. So in that case, we want to do an auto retry of those, and that is based on network monitoring. So based on your connectivity, if there is a failure that is detected, then if the connectivity is regained, then automatically we retry that update if it has failed due to network connectivity. So that is network monitored retries that we do on all the messages that are exchanged. And view-based refresh of data is essentially because it's a mobile client, and when you're viewing the data actively, we want to refresh it without user's interference, because if the context is changed to driving, we would want you to know that immediately. So there's a refresh which is view-based refresh. So if the view is active, we automatically refresh that data without user interference. This is a passive user-side functionality. So the third thing is addressing privacy. So because we are using location information, this was one of our primary goals as well. So for location-based information sharing, we enable this based on an event that can be scheduled prior to driving. And we are sharing the information in the form of proximity metrics. We call that proximity metrics, and they essentially provide us with an information of time, information about the location in terms of time and distance between 2 points. So they do not directly expose the geolocation of the user. And this is based on the previous work by Yanni. So here, this is one of the things that your geolocation is never exposed to anyone. And second thing that we ensure is we don't store any history of your location information or any patterns of your movement in the system. So we ensure location privacy using these two design points. So with that, I go into the how it is implemented, the design on our user interface and what the users can actually see. So this is the main screen of the application. So you can actually see the contacts, and I think it's too small. You can see the contacts and their context, so whether he's driving or available, and they're colored as to what the context of the user is based on that. So this is the main screen, and this performs auto refresh. So when you're in this view, it automatically refreshes the status of these people based on what their current status is. So you don't need to press any refresh or anything. So that is one of the auto functional capability. And then the views are based on the context of the user. If the driver is, if the user is driving and if the user is available. So in this case, you can also see that the location metrics which I was talking about is shared. So here you can actually see time and distance to this user. So this time and distance represents that this user is at a distance of 1.1 kilometers from you, and by time it is 1 minute away. So that's what that's the estimate received from Google Maps. So we are using that, and we are displaying information in information like this. And these two views will automatically switch when the user's context is changed. So suppose you're viewing a user who is currently driving, and if his status changes to available, you don't have to perform a refresh. It automatically loads the screen which is for available, and also the options will be displayed. So the options are a little different for each of these screens. So for a driving contact, so when a contact on your list is driving, we provide some services like alerts and messages, notifications. So one of the messages is when you try to call this person, we display that you should call this person only when it's emergency because he's currently driving. So that's a notification to the user. If user has the capability to override this option and go ahead with the call, but it is just to ensure that we are reducing the probability that he might call. So that's the first screen here, which displays a message to the user. And the second screen is when you want to call a user, and if he is driving right now, then you can set up call reminders based on their status. So you can enable these reminders and get to know when the user stops driving. So you could enable that, or you can call them at a later time as well. And when you try to message that person, even then the alert will be notified. The user will be notified about the status of this person. And for passive user, as I mentioned, only passive users can schedule an event. So for your data share, so he can provide the start time and the end time for this particular event, and this will determine the amount of the duration for which the data will be shared with this particular user. So and for messaging, we don't so automatically the alerts are turned off when the user becomes available. So we don't have any alerts for the available user. So on the implementation side, so this is the end-to-end architecture that we have utilized. So the clients here are Android clients and built on Android OS. And we are using application server, which is AWS, which is Amazon Web Server, and Google Cloud to Device Message. So there are two new technologies which we explored as a part of this work. One is AWS and Google Cloud to Device Messaging Framework. And for communication scheme, we are using RESTful interface between the entities, between clients and the server. We are using RESTful communication. So I'll just cover the next. I'll be covering the two technologies that we have utilized in this system design, system implementation. So Google Cloud to Device Messaging. So this is a platform for client interaction. So we are not using a SMS service to send messages between the clients. We are utilizing a cloud-based implementation, which provides push. So traditionally, when we design an application server, we would perform polling to get refreshed data. So continuously your clients are requesting refreshed data from the server. But in this case, what we do is when there is refreshed data, the server itself will notify the client that there is refreshed data. Because we are dealing with mobile clients, battery optimization also was one of our goals, and this will help us attain performance, better performance. Push scheme helps us attain that. And that is attained using the Google Cloud to Device Messaging framework. And there are some requirements on using this framework which are listed here. And AWS is a cloud service. So we utilize this cloud service because we just wanted to explore an option which is scalable. So if this application is to be deployed real time, then this is a scalable option because it does auto scaling and it is easy to use. We just have to deploy a WAR file onto this cloud server, and it's easy to maintain as well when the number of users in your system increase. So for this, we would require an Amazon Web Services account, which we set up, and then we have utilized the Linux with Tomcat 6 Linux system. So these are some of the specifications of this implementation. So we are using Android clients. So for context detection, in our case, this is just for demonstration purposes, and we have utilized Bluetooth-based context detection, which is available only with API level 17 and up, which is Android 4.2 version. And for context-aware services, so if you have a manual context detection, then context-aware services can be deployed using API level 12, which is Android 4.2. And C2DM requirements, this would require a whitelisted mail ID, in the sense a developer's mail ID to set up this account. So this is a service provided by Google and to work with Android clients. So this can also be replaced with APNS, which is Apple Push Notification Service with iPhones, when we use iPhones as clients. And so there are different versions of C2DM. So the earlier version is called C2DM, which I am utilizing, and now it's deprecated and it is replaced by GCM. So GCM would not require a Google account on your phone, but C2DM would require an active Google account on your phone. That's a limitation of C2DM. If you don't want to use the Google account, then you can migrate to GCM. And some of the server specifications, it's just a 64-bit Linux server with Tomcat 6 running on it. And we also utilize SimpleDB, which is the database which is used in the system. So this slide presents the privacy-driven location sharing. So for realizing privacy-driven data sharing, we are, as mentioned earlier, I'm using proximity metrics. So this is actually the user interface, and this is what happens in the backend. So on the user interface, you can see the time and distance to this particular user. So what happens in the backend is there is a passive user who is viewing the data actively on the phone, and there's an active user who is currently driving, who pushes the data to an application server, to our application server. So the data being pushed is just the latitude and longitude, the current lat long of that user, and using that we calculate the distance and time between these two users. And we update the UI on this phone automatically. So this is the user interface for it, the front end for it, for viewing that data. And the communication scheme, so here the Android clients are interacting with the application server for data exchange purposes, and clients can interact. So the interaction between clients is also limited to interaction via the application server. So they can't interact directly because we are using the cloud-to-device messaging framework. It requires that all the messages flow through an application server. So to enable that communication, we have used RESTful APIs, which is a representational state transfer, which is used in World Wide Web communication. And we have implemented the server side using servlets, which will accept multiple client requests at a time. They can thread and they can accept multiple client requests, and the data exchange between the server and the client will utilize the XML format. So the data is exchanged only in XML format, which is extensible markup language. And the data flow between end clients, as mentioned earlier, it uses C2DM framework. So essentially, it does a push, which is more efficient than poly. So this is the end-to-end system when it's deployed. So for example, there's a user who is driving, so we call that user Alice. So her context is detected and the context information is pushed to the AWS server, so which will also utilize, so even the location coordinates, lat long, will be pushed to the application server, and that will utilize that lat long and also see the permissions and accordingly share information with other users on her contact list. So essentially, here green and blue are two things which you need to observe. So activity-based location share. So Alice has initiated the location sharing before driving. So she has scheduled some events through which she can share her location data. So the green thing indicates that she's actively going to share the data while she's driving. So for example, if Alice's family needs to view the data, then they get to see that she's at a distance of 3 kilometers from them. But other users, it's inactive, they can only see the context information which is shared at all times. So they essentially know that she's driving. So this is like the deployment scenario. And all the messages that are pushed to broadcast to these devices are via Google Cloud to Device messaging framework. So we perform some optimizations on our system design. Yeah, because we are using mobile clients, and because the information is critical to us, information exchange is critical to our system, especially when we are doing a context update. We wouldn't want the context updates to fail. That's the primary thing for our system, and since we are using mobile clients, we would like to address the reliability part of it, and because of network connectivity on these clients. So this is one of the network connectivity scenario on one of the clients that we tested. So it can be in connected or disconnected states at different times. And we could also, when we are sharing context information, if there is a disconnection from the network, then these context updates will fail. So we have performed some test. For example, statistics is there. So when we try to do a context update, there are some failures which are seen. So this will impact the reliability of the services that we are providing. And when we are providing automated services, we would want to improve the reliability. So for this, we introduced a scheme which is called triple retransmission with PGI updates. So essentially what we do is when the context is updated, it will try to update it to the server if there's an active network connection available. But if this fails and if there's complete disconnection or complete no network connectivity on the device at that point of time, then we still retry, we do a triple retransmission of this message. In case there is intermittent connectivity, we could get through. But if it fails even after triple retransmissions, we would piggyback this update. And when the network connection is retained on my is obtained on my device, we retry the context update again. So essentially, we are not using users. So user need not give any trigger to us to retry this process. We are doing it by ourselves by monitoring the network connectivity on your device. So this is an example. So if when the network connectivity is available, when it is connected. If the user is available, but he changes to driving, and at that point there is a complete network disconnection, then we retry 3 times. But if there is completely no network connectivity, we retry only when the network connectivity is retained on obtained on the device. Reverted. So this is the scheme for enhancing reliability. So along with this, we also deal with location fixing problem. So the problem was our system addresses both active as well as passive entities, and active users are the users who are driving, and they'll be outdoor. So to obtain a GPS provider-based update, it's easier. It's easy because it's outdoor. But when the passive users are inside the house, we don't obtain GPS provider-based updates. So in this case, we needed to optimize it to give updates even when the user is indoor. So for this case, we utilized network provider-based updates. So in this case, we can use Wi-Fi or 3G based updates and get the location fix fast, because we are performing a event-based location sharing. So it's important that between the duration, I obtain the location fix of both the users to provide this information. So for this, we optimize the location fixing using both network as well as GPS provider updates. So the network provider updates which utilize Wi-Fi they have the lowest latency in obtaining the fix, and to retain the accuracy, we also use GPS provider based updates. So outdoor, when the user is an active user, we can still use GPS provider based updates, and they provide better accuracy than a network provider based update. So some of the experiments that we performed are for reliability. We tested it using a daemon which was implemented on the client, which will automatically send messages to the server, HTTP based messages, and then we check that for different kinds of connectivity. So when only 3G is active on your phone, and when there's 3G with some intermittent Wi-Fi, and also 3G with active Wi-Fi. So in this case, based on the phone connectivity status during these trials, we have different statistics. So here we can see that when the client only has 3G and it is indoor, we tested this in WinLab, and when there are 100 updates sent, so those are the different versions. So base version did not have any retries or network monitored retries. So it was just one attempt, and if it fails, so there you can see that reliability is less than 50%. So most of the messages didn't go through. But in the case of triple retransmission with network triggered PGI updates, you can see the purple lines in each of these cases, which has improved the performance of this application. So the reliability of this application. So most of the updates go through in these 3 cases, and the highest being the Wi-Fi with 3G active connection. And for the initial location fix, as mentioned, this definitely helps with the indoor location mapping, and this was tested at various locations. Like one is indoor locations, then we also tested it at various Rutgers student centers where you have active Wi-Fi, but there's a switching that happens between Wi-Fi connections, and we also tested with only active 3G connection. And so in this case, there are different locations across the university which we tested at. So we see that the red line indicates the GPS with network provider updates. When you combine it with network provider updates, the latency in obtaining this fix is reduced. So when it is only GPS provider updates, it takes up to 4 seconds for obtaining this fix. And sometimes it does not obtain a fix when you are indoor. So in that case, when we utilize network provider updates, we utilize the Wi-Fi indoor and we get the updates for the user. So here we have compared the version 1 and version 2, which is GPS with network provider updates. So some of the conclusions. So with this system, we attain user-centric, context-aware user-centric services, which will definitely help us in attaining middle ground in providing a distraction-free system or a solution. And we have also realized a privacy-controlled location sharing scheme, which we believe will improve the user acceptance probability. And we have demonstrated even efficient communication scheme between entities by using frameworks such as Google Cloud to device messaging, which will allow us to do a push service. And we have, along with the system design, we have also improved the reliability of this system, so which can be used as a platform for deploying various other context-aware services. It can also be merged with other context-aware service systems. And we also provided fix for indoor location mapping and reducing the latency in obtaining this mapping. So as part of future work, we would want to perform user experience study. We have already implemented a daemon which will monitor the user's cell phone usage based on their context. So when we know that the user is driving and when the user is available, what are the activities that are performed using the cell phone, we monitor that. We have already built that, and we would want to use that and use that on some test users and get some user experience statistics for that. That is the immediate goal. And we can also integrate this solution with social networking applications, because smartphone usage is just not limited to texting and calling anymore, and people are active on social networking sites. So we believe that we can use this platform for deploying this context awareness along with social networking. So we can make this data available to users on Facebook or any other social networking website and share the context information there as well. So along with, these days they already share the location data on social networking sites. We could also enable this using this platform. So that's the future.